Can you hear me? Andres Fuentes, can you hear me? Andres. Let's go back to the Viper radar then. I don't think Andres can hear me. Can you hear me, Andres?
Of him.
Okay,
tornado,
so we now have a new tornado warning. Andres, we're going to get back to you, but we need to let people know what's going on. Once again, let's come back to the other velocity. Shows it much better. And once again, we're going to be watching out for near Garyville.
That's
Andres, I would head south and west at this point. Andres,
he can stay put.
You're right on it.
He can stay put. Tell him to stay put.
Well,
or he can go south.
He can go south a bit, but I mean, he is pretty darn close to this edge. So this is an area we're watching now, and this is the area that we were talking about just a few minutes ago where they did not have a tornado warning. Now they do have a tornado warning. So let's stop it on the last image, guys, and we can show you. Here's where Andres is, and this is the area near Hope as well as Garyville. So if you're in Reserve, Garyville, right along Highway 61, which of course is Airline Highway, get into your safe place immediately. This is a dangerous storm. We are seeing winds coming together with definite rotation in this region. So if you're in this area here, get into your safe place right now. Let's see if we can get Andres' picture up. Andres, you need to kind of head away from the storm. Well, right now, I think you may be okay at this time, but notice that leading edge coming in. As you can see, the leading edge of these storms continuing to move in from the west to the east. Now, with that shot, I just don't see any type of funnel or any type of, at least anvil coming down from the sky. So from the direction that he's going, it looks like he may be heading south. The actual tornado is kind of to his north and east. So once again, this is the area that we're watching very, very closely as the storm tracker is here, and we have the area that we're watching, and the debris signature is getting pretty active too. Let's come full screen to Viper. Let's go back down to the area where that debris is a little bit closer. So if we can come full screen on Viper, debris signatures coming in near Garyville. In this whole area, this could be a very large wind field or a potential moderate tornado right near Garyville. Now, here's the Mississippi River. Here's Lutcher. Here's Paulina. And as you can see, Garyville right on the river just to the north. This is Airline Highway. This is Highway 61. Here is I-10. So many of us travel these areas heading west toward Baton Rouge along the River Road or Airline, or we're looking at the interstate as well. So this is a very, very suspect area. Let's go back to the other velocity if we can. It really shows in depth, I think, more of what we're looking at. So here it is right along Highway 61, which is Airline Highway, Airline Drive in New Orleans. But as you can see, this is a very, very strong axis of winds from Garyville heading northeastward. Reserve, you're seeing the heavy winds as well as Edgard. So if you're in this area, Edgard, Reserve, Garyville, get into your safe place immediately. Right now, we're looking at the potential of strong winds, potential tornado, as well as we've seen some debris coming in on that debris signature. Speaking of that, let's go back to the debris signature if we can. And once again, this is a very kind of wooded area from Garyville and along the river itself. And this does indicate that we are seeing an even increase. Our new scan just came in. All right, here's the storm tracker coming in. It looks like he's possibly heading over the Sunshine Bridge, would that be? Heading toward maybe Donaldsonville in that area, or Gramercy. So in that area, we're seeing that heavy rain coming in, but also we're seeing the potential of this rotation coming in. Let's go back to velocity very quickly. I think we saw kind of a hook on the actual velocity itself right in this region here moving in. So let's go back to velocity, reflectivity if we can, Amber. And, you know, when you start seeing these notches here, these are areas that we watch for. And this is the area that we're looking at the potential of strong gusty winds. So this could be a developing tornado that may potentially reach the ground. So the entire area in this region is looking at a tornado warning that's in effect. Now, if it's moving northeastward at about 30 to 35, let's take a look at a scan of cities that this would likely be hitting. Let's come back full screen now, guys, and you can see, before we go back from the storm tracker, heavy rain in the river parishes right now. So the storm, if it's moving, say, around 45 to 50, we're looking at Manchac. So this is a very rural area. As a result, we're not really seeing a lot of cities within that main line that Amber just drew. But here's Manchac. And northwest of Laplace, this is the area of suspect that we're watching heading toward Rudock and Manchac. So in the next 15 minutes, it's going to continue to move toward the western edge of Lake Pontchartrain into, once again, the Rudock area and Lake Maurepas. Right now, it's near Laplace. Laplace, I would say, get into your safe place. Laplace, you've seen numerous tornadoes over the last several years. This is very, very close to you. So any hop, skip, or jump, it is very close to the Laplace area. So if you're in Laplace, I would say get into your safe place. As I mentioned earlier, Fox 8 weather app. Download it. If you have it, all you have to do is go to the Fox 8 live area on the screen, hit it, you can watch us live, and I will give you the all clear sign. So from Rudock down toward Laplace, in this area, I would get into your safe place. We do have the potential of strong gusty winds and also a tornado that is being detected by radar. At this point, this is a very ominous looking storm here. Once again, these could easily kind of hook and also generate tornadic development. Very strong gusty winds. And again, you can see in that area right here that the indication from our reflectivity, which is the actually rain that we show, it looks like this is likely holding together at this point. Very dangerous storm. If I were to say 1 to 10, this would be a tornado on the ground, I would give it a strong 7 or 8. This is a classic signature of winds coming to and from the radar, and what we're seeing is the rotation around, which is likely a tornado potentially on the ground. So as it moves northeastward, it's going to be very dangerous, and these little areas and notches, that's what we look for rotation on the southwest flank of a storm. Let's go back to the debris signature, Amber, if we can. Debris signature, wow, look at that. Let's come back full screen right now, guys, to Viper. This is a very strong storm. When you start seeing some of the greens, these could be large tree trunks. These could be shingles from homes. These could be big fence boards. This is a very dangerous storm. Reserve, Edgard, Hope, Laplace, Belterre, Lucy, get into your safe place immediately. This storm is roaring at about 40 to 50 miles per hour in your direction, even though it's outside of the warned area. In and around the watch or warn area is areas that we need to look for. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's got to be smack dab in the pink polygon. This is right on the border of it. And when you start seeing these color differentials right in this area here, these are extremely strong winds moving in from Laplace heading over toward Belterre. So Laplace, you have seen your fair share of very dangerous storms, flooding with hurricanes, tornadoes as well. I know you've been hit hard over the last several years. This is a very dangerous storm that you need to get into your safe place immediately. Now, heavy rain is going to be following this. This is our rainfall rate. So Amber's going to query this. In the pink, you're looking at extremely heavy rain. On the scale, heavy, and then you start getting into the lighter pink. This is over 7 inches an hour. So if that storm didn't move in 1 hour, you would get over a half a foot of rain. That's how heavy this rain is coming down. It is moving. Now, that's the good news, because if it were a slow line and we started to get back building or we started to get training going on, which I do not expect, this is going to be a situation where heavy blinding rains are going to be moving in. Polygon is kind of strange at this point because as it moves off to the northeast, these things can kind of skip around. So from Rudock heading down to Belterre, Laplace, I mentioned you should be in your safe place right now. Even though you're on the cusp of the warned area, it's in and near the warned area. So you may be a few miles outside of this box and you may think, I'm good. Well, at this point, Belterre, Laplace, coming in, you come off the spillway, you go right down there, and then you hit the second and then the first Laplace exit. And these are the areas that we're watching for very strong winds, as well as those tornadoes that could certainly cause a lot of damage. Now, Rudock, this is all heading your way, so you should be in your safe place as well. Manchac, you need to watch. Now, if this skips a little bit farther off to the northeast, Manchac, you'd be okay. If it shifts a bit farther north, then Manchac, you need to get into your safe place as well. But for right now, Manchac, I think you're fine. But Rudock, heading down north of Belterre, this is an extremely dangerous storm. A tornado warning is in effect at this point. Amber, what time does that warning expire? On the air, kind of hard. So at 5:45. So right now it is 5:29. So we have about 16 minutes to go with this warned area, and they could certainly extend it. So that could be even another issue where it extends north and eastward, and that heads toward the North Shore, toward Mandeville, Madisonville, and Covington. Now, right now, you're okay. The area we're watching is right north of Belterre, near Laplace, heading up toward Rudock, and this is a very, very large rotation. As you can see, we're seeing winds to and from, and Amber, let's do this. Let's stop the radar. Let's put on the debris signature right over this area. And the debris signature is showing extreme winds with likely debris flying into the air. Let's come a bit farther south now, near Lucy and Laplace. This is extreme winds over this area, and I'm surprised the Weather Service has not extended this farther south, and likely they might. But from Belterre down to Lucy, extreme winds with major pieces of things, whatever it may be, being lofted into the atmosphere. So, very dangerous. Lucy, Laplace, Belterre should be in your safe place immediately. Once again, we don't want you going out taking video. We don't want you out there taking pictures through the windows, because this is a very dangerous storm. And with this storm, we could certainly see a lot of rotation in this area here. Now, the main storm is farther north, but we are seeing this axis kind of extending south in toward Laplace. Now, Rudock, storm is kind of moving in this direction here. Here's I-55 heading down from Rudock. So you're not far from Lake Maurepas on the western end of Lake Pontchartrain. So this is coming in right in the area near Rudock. I-55 goes basically toward Manchac, where Middendorf's is. We've all gone north, heading up to Ponchatoula. This is in the area that we're watching very closely. And, I mean, when you start seeing kind of this notch area here, I mean, it is likely a very good chance that this is a tornado on the ground. And we saw the debris signature as well. So, Laplace, this is a very dangerous storm. Rudock, all moving in your direction right now. And as you can see in the pink polygon, we've been extending this warning now from southwest to northeast. And as it moves northeastward, if it holds on, Manchac, you could likely be next in line. And I may be putting you in your safe place in the next couple of minutes, just depending on the next scan that we get. Next scan should come in the next 90 seconds or so, but here's Rudock. Here's the area that we're watching with some of the winds coming down into this part of the storm. Storm tracker way down to the south now. Can we take the storm tracker picture very quickly? Andres is doing a good job getting away from this storm. We were mentioning how to go south and west away from it. So this is where South Vacherie is. Here is O'Galley. Here is Lutcher. So he's within that area. So he is doing okay. I mean, we don't want to put anyone in harm's way. We're not going to put anybody in danger to get a good shot of a potential tornado. That's not what this is about. We want to keep people safe. We want to keep you safe as well. But he's in that area, and you can see some blinding rains are coming up on him right now. Heavy rainfall up to 6 to 7 inches per hour. And that line, as you just saw, it updated. It is moving eastward right along the bend of the river, coming in through this area into the river parishes. So very dangerous situation with very strong winds, potential tornado, also blinding rainfall. And if there is a tornado, notice the rain. If there's a tornado on the ground, just say he's moving toward the tornado, which he is not. Rain wrap means you have so much rain coming before the actual tornado, you can't see it. So rain wrapped tornadoes are sometimes not even visible because there's so much rain kind of being wrapped around that actual spin. As a result, at this point, we don't have confirmation, ground truth at this time, but on Viper radar, a very strong signature that we are looking at a likely tornado that is on the ground. Let's come back full screen now. You can see Storm Tracker. We're going to come back to that as well, getting Andres kind of out of that region. So here's the whole viewing area. As you can see, really the northern end has not misbehaved over the last hour, where earlier we had some big warnings up here, so now it's farther south. So this line is moving eastward, but individual cells are tracking northeast, and that's why notice the polygons from southwest to northeast. As these individual cells along the line move northward, that's the direction the actual strongest storms are moving into. Now, Morgan City, you're getting it right now. Let's do a couple of radar tours coming in, Amber. Let's come down now to the Bayou parishes. Let's just hit Bayou on the actual click, and you can see coming in from Napoleonville down to Thibodaux, Raceland, not far away, some heavy storms moving into your region. Houma, they're moving into your area too. Let's travel farther south and west, down toward Dulac and Chauvin, down to Cocodrie. Now, the storms themselves a little bit lighter down south, but as you'll notice, these little kind of areas of roundness, these could actually spin up as well. So we're not going to discount the fact that it doesn't look as strong and heavy south. You could easily get a spin up with the atmosphere being very active at this point with veering winds. As you go up into the atmosphere, you get that rotation from winds from the southwest and the south, and you go up vertically. That is what causes rotation and a developing either funnel cloud or an actual tornado on the ground. So very heavy rainfall. Andres is moving south of this actual area that we're looking at the potential of a tornado. Let's come back full screen if we can to Viper. And with Viper, I want to travel farther north and closer in. So let's come in toward Thibodaux right now, and you can see from Donner to basically Schriever, Gray, Ellsworth, this area is heavy rainfall, but we're not really seeing much in the way of any kind of these little hook echoes we would see, where we would see the potential on the southwest side of a storm, a little hook that would indicate rotation. So right now, Thibodaux, around Acadia, Schriever, very heavy rainfall moving into your area. Traveling northward, Kramer coming into you, Choctaw coming into your area too right now, from Chack Bay down to South Vacherie. Let's continue northward, Amber. You're doing a good job. We'll travel up the line. Here is the storm tracker away from this area that we were watching with the potential tornado. So Paulina, Lutcher, Vacherie. Let's go back now to velocity and keep this actual shot. I want to let people know Vacherie, Paulina, Lutcher, you're clear now. You can come out of your safe place if you've been waiting. Now, if you're in areas toward Laplace and Lucy still, you need to be in your safe place. Farther north, here's that notch we're looking at. Laplace, Lucy, Reserve, in the next couple of minutes, you'll likely be cleared. Let this storm move a little bit further away, but Belterre, Laplace, and Reserve, you're looking much better now. This storm is now moving northeast of you and away from your area. Rudock, the next in line. Here we go. Indicated by definite likely rotation. We're seeing winds coming to and from the radar with that rotation. Let's show you the debris tracker if we can. Debris tracker does indicate we could see potential in this area of debris lofted into the atmosphere. And you can see, I'll tell you, I mean, that looks like a long track tornado. We talked about that hatched area. We talked about the conditions where stronger than average tornadoes this far south, and you're looking at the tracking moving in. Likely, this is a tornado that has been on the ground for just about 15 to 25 minutes. So that could cover several miles away, and it's holding its own on the actual radar. Now, the actual warning has been condensed now. So what we're looking at is, and what the Weather Service is thinking, is likely rotation with a very strong possibility of a tornado right near Rudock. We said 10 minutes ago, Rudock, get into your safe place. Interior of your home, Fox 8 weather app, watch us live. I've cleared Belterre and Laplace and farther west, but Rudock, you need to be in your safe place right now. If you know somebody who lives in this area, small town, low population, but still people live there along I-55 heading north toward Manchac, call them and let them know that this thing is coming in, and basically it's on your doorstep right now. So hopefully you're in your safe place if you live around that area. We do have a lot of camps coming in, basically south of this region, along Manchac, around Lake Maurepas. We have some camps as well. Some people have just weekend camps. Some people actually live there. So this is a very strong indication. And let's back out now and track it so we can show the viewers, Amber. I mean, basically, from Laplace and Edgard, putting into motion, you can see this is a debris field that's coming in. So likely tornado in this area, moving northeastward, southeast of Rudock. And again, the actual warning is a bit farther northwest, but in and near the warned area. So this likely is a very strong wind event that has been tracking now for quite a while. Moving in toward Rudock right now, here's I-55, right along I-55 right now. So this is basically coming in right near south of Manchac into the area, getting ready to approach the western part of Lake Pontchartrain. Where does this thing go after that? Likely toward Mandeville and Madisonville. Let's back out a little bit more, Amber, if we can, and I want to show just kind of an area. Here's Mandeville, here's Covington, here's the storm. So if it continues in that axis, we may be looking at, if it holds together, right around Mandeville, Beedico, heading over toward Covington. This area here, all dependent on what's going on. So Amber, if you want to jump in and you want to say something, or you're looking at the actual information, jump in, please.
Yeah, I've got a couple things I'm looking at off camera as well. I just want to mention to the folks on the North Shore there in Covington, you've got a pretty strong storm heading towards you, so your winds are going to start picking up. Watching that area, not seeing any rotation, that's concerning. But
you're on camera right now.
Oh, I am on camera. Yeah. Hi.
Go ahead. Okay. You're good.
So we're watching that area right now, but again, North Shore, that whole line moving into your neck of the woods, that is not anything that's tornadic right now. But we've got eyeballs on every little piece of this line, so you can go back to Viper. I feel like that's going to be the best picture here for folks to see where that rain is.
Okay, let's go back to Viper very quickly. Then we'll go back to Andres in the storm tracker right now. Again, we have Andres moving south in a way. So here is the actual tornado warning. Andres is in the line, but he's away from that rotation. Let's go now to Storm Tracker, and we can show you what's going on. Is Andres available? Can he hear me through his IFB, guys? If we can do some Q&A, just to kind of get a feel of maybe winds that he's feeling, the heavy downpours. Okay, we cannot talk to him as of this point right now. So there you see it. Storm Tracker is in it, but the tornado warning is well northeast of him. So if you're seeing this, once again, this is the area that we're watching. He is very far to the southwest. Now, Andres, I think, is up. Andres, can you hear me?
He can talk.
Okay, Andres.
I can hear you, Chief Meteorologist Bruce Katz. How's it going, sir?
All right. Well, how's it going for you? That's really the important question. You're kind of in the thick of it. You know, we're
Look,
trying to steer you away. But tell us what you're feeling.
I do have to keep the... Right, I do have to give the shout outs to you, Mr. Katz, as well as Amber Wheeler, Hannah Guard. You guys have been directing us out of harm's way, that's for sure. But I'm going to give you this view of the camera, what we're looking at right now. Like you told us, you know, we are going south and we are going west. We are headed just over the bridge, trying to get over to St. Charles Parish as of this moment. But as you guys have been seeing, you know, all throughout taking our live hits or the Storm Tracker camera, we have been hitting a lot of those gusts and a lot of the heavy rain. At one point, we were underneath the Veterans Bridge. It was completely white because of how intense those rains were there. But like you guys said all day long, really all week long, it was very, very quick. We were maybe there for maybe 45 seconds or so during that intense rain, and then we were able to head on out and take the Veterans Bridge to down over here, again, heading toward St. Charles Parish right now. But as soon as we start talking about all those bad conditions, as you're seeing right now, you know, it's not all too bad, you know, heading south and heading west, just like y'all guys said. We are still getting some of the wind and rain, but, you know, just rotating this camera around, you know, that is directly over the Mississippi River. I know it might be hard to see on your guys' end, but you know, just seeing how nasty the clouds have been and how quick the clouds have been moving as well has been quite alarming. But I'm going to sort of rotate this to the south of us, or I should say really toward the west, and you can kind of also see it. It's really north of us, like we have been saying, very fast moving toward the north of us right now, again, as we're trying to make our way into St. Charles Parish. Hopefully we won't be getting into any more of that crazy weather, but as you can see, this pocket of dark cloud over here.
Hey, Andres?
I believe it could be over La Place right now, but I could be mistaken.
Hey, Andres, this is Amber. I want to maybe have you stop where you're at right now.
You're moving into an area,
We're seeing some rotation here. Yeah, stop where you're at. Shelter in place for a second. I see some rotation near you.
We are going to stop right here.
I don't see anything that's concerning, but something growing concerning. Let's just say
as that line moves in towards you, Andres, things can happen very quickly. So that's why we're saying we just kind of want you to slow down just a little bit, and we're going to kind of give you direction in just a moment. But I mean, really, what Andres is showing us, I mean, those low clouds, they're swirling, they're moving very quickly. And again, here's our storm tracker. Let's put on the velocity, Amber. Velocity is when I showed you the red and green. This is actually the range. Oh, Andres, you need to
turn around.
You need to head basically west, away. I mean, you're moving into us. So, Andres, I would head south and west at this point. You're in an area where you're likely going to see some very strong winds at this point. let's show you the debris tracker if we can. And debris tracker does indicate, I would head west and south, Andres, if you can hear me. As you can see, we're looking at some strong winds and potential of very large pieces of trees or anything around your yard lifting upward. This is extremely heavy rain as well, but the rotation itself is to the east of that very large area of rain. So Andres, if I were you, I would head more south and then west if you can. Do not head eastward because you're on the leading edge of that line. So just wanted to make that point. So the tornado watch is in effect through 7, if we can take that off, Amber. And I think the warnings have been dropped. And the reason why we're saying we don't want Andres going eastward is because even though you don't have a tornado, you do have very strong gusty winds and blinding rain. Well, here's an interesting polygon that is continuing at this point. I thought they dropped that warning, Amber. Did they not drop that warning?
No,
I thought
it's got 1 more minute.
Okay, it's got one more minute, so actually about 4 seconds. So we're going to see if this drops. If this does drop, we're going to go back to the news desk at this point, give a little breather, but actually they're going to drop this. In fact, yeah, because the actual rotation is farther east, and I'm surprised they're not moving it eastward. Let's kind of broaden out a little bit, Amber, and kind of see who may be next in line. Mandeville and Madisonville, I would be on guard. Likely we could see a tornado warning in the next few minutes in your area approaching. So Covington, Mandeville, Madisonville, heading west-northwest toward Beatico. These areas here, we're watching this notch, and this is the area that we've seen a potential debris signature with debris on potential long-track wind damage. As a result, as it moves northeastward, this is a very interesting area that we're watching, and this is the one that has dropped at least a lot of rain and the potential of very strong gusty winds. So Covington and Mandeville, again, be on the lookout. Heavy rain is moving into your region right now, but we still have an area that if it has settled down a bit, it's got the potential to regenerate back into a storm that could create a tornado. So at this time, even though that warning, well, it's been dropped now. So at this time, we've got no tornado warnings. That's good, but we're going to have to see what happens with some of these areas we were looking at debris and see whether or not we do have damage or a potential confirmed tornado. So John and Liz, boy, what an afternoon it's been. I mean, this is what we were talking about. Mardi Gras, 2 different systems, winds after 9 to 10. And John, you and I were up on Gower Hall on the riser. And when we left at around noon, that wind was gusting and blowing. So that was the issue with the parades. Tonight, we were indicating a strong line of strong storms with potential tornadoes and watches. And indeed, watches came out, and we have now seen several tornado warnings at this point. I'm going to get a sip of water. You guys can take it away. If anything does reoccur as far as a tornado warning, we're going to be back on with you. Let's go back to you guys.
All right, thanks so much, Bruce. And the thing about this, you know, who knows if there's been damage to structures or not. A lot of this has been over swampy areas. We'll see now as it gets to population centers if there's any effect.
Okay, so much more. Stay with Fox 8. We'll be right back.